Well, hey everybody, welcome to Sam's Doing Stuff. What am I doing today? Well, I'm going to try and build a garage door for less than $100. This barn is the barn that I use to work in most of the time. The other barn is equipment storage, and this door right here is west facing. So when it gets windy and rainy and cold, guess what? It gets windy, rainy, and cold inside the barn, and I just need something to block the weather. I went to some big box stores and I bought some supplies, and I spent just about $100. The most expensive thing out of all of it was the tarp. All right, I'm kind of making this up as I go. So I laid out the tarp, and just so you all know, they say there's a 12 by 16 tarp. It's going to be a little shy. They're always a little short. They don't measure exactly how big they are. So the opening to this garage door is 10 by 13 and a half, give or take. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two pieces of scrap 2x4, and I'm going to lay them out at the top of this tarp to where the bottom of the tarp reaches exactly where I want it, and I want it to be about 2 inches short of 10 feet. Now that I've got this scrap 2x4 where I want it, I'm going to roll it without sliding it up to the top. And what that's going to do is it's going to tell me exactly where those grommets are going to land. And I think that's about it right there. Yeah. So now I know exactly where those grommets need to be, screw those in, and when I roll it back up, I'll roll it to that exact height. So this is going to shorten or lengthen the tarp to match the opening of the garage door. Okay, now I'm going to secure the tarp to the 2x4 using a 2-inch deck screw and some washers and go through the grommets. Now that we've got our 2x4 attached, I'm going to start rolling this up, and I'm going to look for that 2 inches shy of 10 feet that I laid out earlier. It should be right there. Perfect. Okay, this part's going to be kind of fun, especially doing it by myself. I need to get this up in place and clamped. Huh. Stay on there. You stay. I hope you stay on there. If you choose to stay on there. Oh yeah. We can tip the whole ladder over. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Okay. Stay there. All right, well, I got it hung-ish. All right, done with the ladder for a minute. I know what you're thinking. Great, Sam. Yeah, that covers the doorway. That's fantastic. What are you gonna do to keep it from billowing, number one? And number two, how are you gonna open and close it if you need to get a machine through here? Next step. Okay, the next step in this ode to joy is I'm going to use this 3/4 inch conduit. It was the cheapest, sturdiest, I need something that's very rigid. I was thinking maybe, that gas line pipe, but that was way too expensive. This was the least expensive for what it gives me. And I'm going to connect two pieces. I got a 5-foot section and a 10-foot section. Just connect them together with this little connector. Okay, so I got that connected together. Now, of course, something didn't go the way I wanted it to go, because this is hanging down too far. I wanted it to be 2 inches above the concrete, and it's obviously hanging down all the way over the concrete. I don't know how that happened. I measured and I tried, but that's the way things go. So I guess what I'm going to do, I plan on zip tying this bar to the bottom grommets. So I'm going to roll it somehow into that bottom and then maybe poke a hole and zip tie it that way. I don't know, let me give it a shot. You'll see what happens when it's done. Okay, zip tying the bottom worked pretty well. As you can see, it's just kind of floating just above the concrete. You know, as the wind blows, you can see it's not dragging anymore, which is what I wanted to avoid. So the next thing we need to do is we need to have a way to open and close it. So I'm going to run a fish tape through that pipe that I zip tied in the bottom, and I'll pull a rope through that. Okay, let's try it. Running out of time, running out of patience. All right, the rope is through. Now, if I could just wind the fish tape. Okay, next step. Here we go. Now we got the rope pulled through that pipe that goes through the bottom. I'm going to take this rope and I'm going to weave it through the grommets, in and out, all the way to the top. Through the front, through the back. All right, let's get more of that pulled through. All right, so right at the very top of it all, at each end, I'm putting one of these babies in. And then I'm gonna hook a pulley to that little loop. And if this does what it's supposed to do, I should be able to pull the whole thing up just like a curtain. Yes. I'm out of time, I'm out of energy, I'm out of patience. I'm at the end of my rope. Oh, come through there. And then it's gotta go through the pulley. All right, back to the other side, through the other pulley. Okay, if I did everything right, and if I'm right, this should open kind of like blinds do on a house, on a window. There you go. Tie it off, and I can open. And kind of close it, kind of, come on. You know you want to. I guess if I pull on it, it'll come down, but it should just come down on its own. Anyway, it kind of works. All right, it's after dinner, and I normally don't come down here after dark. It's kind of creepy, believe it or not. Whew, I'm so fat right now. Big old belly full of meatball sub. Whew. Anyway, I want to get this finished up because it's Friday night. I'm going to get this video up for you guys tomorrow morning. So because of that rope up there going through the pulleys, it can have some slack and everything. I'm going to put this little clamp on the rope, on the both of the ropes over there in that corner, just so that it doesn't pull up through the pulleys. And I think that'll work. I'll get that on next. All right, so just pull these ropes so they're both taut, just snug. Kind of like that, I think is good. And then we'll put this right here, and it'll keep those from pulling through and keep them even. There we go. Don't drop the little nuts. And let's cinch those down. probably good enough. Yeah, that'll hold. Next step, I'm gonna put a couple of these little hooks down low, and then I'll be able to take these little bungee loops and put them through the grommets on the tarp and hook them to these hooks. So that'll kind of keep it from billowing out through, you know, letting, I want to give it some, I don't want to make it too rigid. These are stretchy, so, you know, if the wind blows a little hard, the first thing to give will be these and not the tarp. That's kind of the way I'm thinking anyway. So anyway, to keep it from blowing and swinging like that, I'm just going to mount a couple of these. All right, that holds it. Holds it well enough, that's for sure. Cut down on the wind and rain and whatever that might come in here and make it unpleasant. So one last thing, I'm going to mount this little doodad here for holding the rope. So when I pull this all the way up and I open it up, I need something to tie it off to. So that's going to go right here. And I'm just hooking it in with a couple of those 2-inch deck screws. All right, that's it. It's done. I think this is pretty good. And when I'm not down here working in this barn, I'm leaving this open. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it. We'll test it, see how it works. So I just unhook over here from that hook. Unhook over here. Grab my ropes. Pull the whole thing up. There we go. Then just tie it off just like that. Good. I can get in and out. I was kind of hoping that would go up farther, but I think it's fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. It's certainly, for a temporary thing, it's going to work just fine. It'll keep the wind and the snow and the rain out this winter. It'll make it a lot more comfortable to work in here because I've got my firewood set up just about perfect, you know? So listen, somebody said in the last video, I'm handling the wood like 6 or 7 times. I don't count handling the wood unless I'm actually picking it up with my hands. If a machine is doing it for me, that doesn't count. So let's go through it. First of all, I've got a tree service now. So they load my trailer for me. I bring my trailer here and I dump it. I haven't touched the wood. Then I might put that wood up on, you know, sticks or something to keep it off the ground. The tractor does that. I still haven't touched it. Then it comes time to cut it. I take those logs and I bring them to my poor man's live deck there, my poor man's firewood processor. Anyway, I cut them up on that. I take it with the tractor, putting them on there with the tractor. I haven't touched them yet. Now, you might argue that I sometimes by hand, I'll roll them down into place, but I'm not lifting them, you know? I would count lifting it as a touch. So now they're on the bucking station and I cut them up with the chainsaw. First touch, I take them and I put them, and I'm starting to put them on pallets now. So instead of just setting them on the ground, I put them on pallets because if I want to work in here, I want to be able to move them in here on pallets, or if I want to work out in the wood yard, if it's a nice day, I can just pick them up with the tractor and move them right back out there. So one touch to put them on the pallets, and then I can move them wherever I need to with the tractor. Then another touch to pick it up and put it on the log splitter, split it up, and then the final touch is I put it into those IBC totes now that I can dump using the tractor into the dump trailer. So that's 3. I counted 3 times. And for the amount of machinery that I'm using, just a tractor and a box store splitter and IBC totes, oh, and the dump trailer, of course, that's a big deal. You know, for the machines that I'm using, to be only touching it 3 times, I think that's pretty good. So anyway, this is gonna make it a whole lot more pleasant this winter to work in this barn. I've got big plans for this barn. I want to turn it into a workshop, a really nice workshop. And I think it has that potential. So anyway, this will be that just added little extra that's going to make it nice. And if you need to make your work area a little more pleasant this winter, a tarp, and there's some things I would change. I know there's some things I would change, I would do differently, but I think it's going to work just fine. So anyway, hope you liked the video. Click the thumbs up, click the subscribe. and I'll see you next time when I'm doing more stuff.